Over time, our habitat has been dealing with significant changes concerning water resources, population growth, agriculture, and industrial development. To meet these challenges, QMax Ecuador S.A. has designed the QDNT QMax Dehydrator new technology system. The QDNT system utilizes chemical and mechanical methods to clarify fluids by flocculation and dehydration to remove the solids contained in the fluids. This technology is an industrial waste management process, applicable in such areas as in the drilling, production, and crude oil extraction industry, the mining area, water treatment plants, and in the management of industrial and sewage waters in general. The QDNT system eliminates the need of some conventional equipment, such as decanting centrifuges, enabling the operating company to see some cost savings in its waste management operations, as well as improved extracted water quality, thereby minimizing the environmental impact. Capacity to treat formation water that contains sand, solids, and crude oil traces. It removes all the solids from slurries to obtain clear water that may be reused to prepare a new drilling fluid in the mining industry case. In the petroleum industry, after the formation water is treated by the QDNT equipment, it can be injected into a well after treatment with chemicals such as oxygen scavengers and corrosion inhibitors. The QDNT system has the capacity to continuously flocculate and remove solids. Operating mechanism. The QDNT system process commences with a manifold containing included baffles where the mud or waste fluid and flocculant polymer solution are blended. This way the mud that enters the QDNT equipment is already flocculated before it enters the first homogenization compartment named the receiver. This action allows the fluid mix to be in turbulent fluid regime for its better agitation and homogenization. Later on, the fluid goes through circular holes toward the first main clarifying chamber for solid settlement that has 70-degree deflectors that, due to their distribution, allow having a laminar flow regime for the right sedimentation of flocks and heavier particles such as sand, clays, and cuttings. The microflocks that couldn't settle in the first chamber pass to the second chamber, consisting of a vertical flocculator with 3 sections with 4 internal compartments, providing linear velocities lower than 0.1 meters per second. As a result of this process, the water is obtained free from particles and with suspended solids within the permissible limits allowed by Ecuadorian environmental legislation. Removers download all the solids deposited in the QDNT, both in the first and second chambers. The main purpose of the positive displacement pumps is to displace all the solids coming from the QDNT. QDNT's benefits. The technical and environmental benefits that the QDNT system brings are a savings of 30% of the energy consumption as compared to conventional equipment, taking into consideration that this also helps to minimize the environmental pollution. Other advantages of the QDNT system are: if pools or cells to deposit removed solids and cuttings are available nearby, the processing location, road transporting equipment will be eliminated. In wells drilling fluids, treated water that will be obtained from the QDNT in the first section with resultant suspended solids less than 16 milligrams per liter. With the conventional equipment, the suspended solids content is typically in excess of 240 milligrams per liter. The water coming from the slurry clarification of the first section may be directly transferred to injection without further treatment by the water treatment system. The treated water obtained from the QDNT in both second and third sections will result in suspended solids less than 390 milligrams per liter, while the suspended solids from traditional processing equipment may range from 2,500 to 8,000 milligrams per liter. For the QDNT maintenance, The processing fluid flow will be continuous with no need of stopping the dehydration process, as is common with traditional systems. Flow will be continuous. The velocity at the end of the process will be 0.1 meters per second, helping all the microflux to agglomerate and precipitate, obtaining clear water. The QD&T system can take the fluid direct from the sand traps on drilling rigs, sucking sand, solids, and clay, while the conventional equipment works with the fluid that first passes through other types of cleaners, such as desanders and clay removers, to avoid damage to decanter centrifuges. The total flow that the QD&T system works with is up to 1,200 gallons per minute between fluid and polymer solution, while with conventional solids control equipment, the maximum processing flow is 450 gallons per minute between fluid and polymer solution. The maintenance of the QD&T system compared to the decanter centrifuges is low cost, and it contributes to minimize the environmental pollution. The wastewater processing. Wastewater obtained from the QD&T system can be recirculated using a closed circuit to the active system. When water is no longer required for reuse in the active system, it can be recirculated to the water treatment system to treat it to comply with the disposal parameters of the Ecuadorian environmental legislation. Otherwise, it can be stored for later reuse or injection. QD&T, QMax Dehydrator New Technology.